you're tall. Like me.
Hello, everybody. Hi. Hi. I am not Ryan. Shocking, right? But the reason I am up here because I was part of the Met crew, which I got to shadow Ryan to learn how to be the comms officer. So I thought this would be like kind of the end game for me to learn to do the announcements this week. So, committees, they're a thing. You should join one. But PR committee is meeting Thursday at 10:15. What building? 10:15? SAU. This Thursday from 5 to 6:30. Go learn how to go be a part of an advertising for Star and design some posters and just be awesome, I guess. Book club. Book club's a thing. They're out there. They are currently reading the Neuromancer, and they are going to be reading up to chapter 2 next week. So join them in probably the usual spot outside of the Bamboo Room in the lounge in the SAU. And Relay for Life, it's a thing. It's coming real quick. It's on April 12th, which is actually, this month is April. I know, right? Time's flying by fast. But you can still sign up. It's $20. The theme is Star Wars. Star Wars is awesome. And you could join the Slack channel and talk about fun stuff with our Relay and help us have everyone plan. And Starfest. Starfest is a thing. It's coming up fast. It's this April 16th. And tickets are now on sale. If you're a member, they're only $8, $10 if you aren't. So Starfest was really fun last year. If you made it, I know I made it. I actually helped host a panel with Taylor Braun, and so it's a fun time to meet everyone, have some fun, eat some food, go to a panel that interests you, and dance and do all sorts of fun stuff. And we're going to see Captain America: Civil War. Oh, we are. But Starfest is having a screening of Winter Soldier. My bad. I'm new at this. I'm sorry. And a Network tournament, and even more we haven't announced yet. And for all announcements, like us on Facebook and follow us at RIT Starfest on Twitter. Other, RIT Diversity Theater is doing a reading of Photograph 51 this Wednesday, April 6th from 6:30 to 9:30 in the Innovation Center, which is the building that looks like a toilet over on that side. In room 1600. It's basically it's a play about discovery of the structure of DNA, focusing on Watson Franklin, who took the photo that Watson and Craig based their model on. Also, RTGAs is doing Spring Drag School is sci-fi themed. And it's this Friday, 7 p.m. on Ingle. Tickets are $3 and pre-sale. Also, T-shirts. They're on sale right now. Solo is wearing them. Solo, face. Yeah, watch the cord. Don't trip and fall, break your face. But they're $10 for all members, $15 for a non-member. So honestly, you should become a member. You save a lot of money doing that. Membership is only $6 per semester, $10 for the year as well. Cool. Anything else?
Just a quick note. Thank you so much, Cooper.
Yeah.
So I know Relay for Life is actually starting the 8th.
8th?
Friday the 8th.
Is it?
Yes.
Oh, where did I hear the tell?
I have no idea.
I'm stupid.
It starts at,
Saturday.
No.
wait, what? I thought it was Friday into Saturday.
No.
Everyone's wrong. All right, so it's starting.
We're all wrong. We're all dumb. We're in college, people. Shame.
There's like 5 weeks left. Really? Gonna train someone else? All right.
We're college students. We forget things.
All right. Thank you so much, Cooper. And now we're gonna get into our presentation. Grab the mouse. Grab the mouse.
Don't we give you?
Yeah. All right. So, hi. You're not afraid. Get in the frame. Hi. I'm Ryan. In case any of you didn't know, and
I'm Mike Sarlo.
And we're going to be talking about zombies, because zombies are cool. And to kind of prepare you guys for the epic zombie onslaught that's going to be happening next week. So, first we're going to, nope, just advance the slide. I was hoping my mouse would be that cool, but it's not. Yes, it's turned on. It's just the distance. Too much
You
distance.
try turning it off and on again?
Maybe you can install like a Swiss basis.
Did you do that?
No.
All right. Shout out to Ava for suggesting I turn it on and turn.
Now
turn
we're
it on.
backwards. Go.
Working on it. Man, what an awful start. What an awful start. Which is a shame because we're so excited about this. All right, so we're going to talk to you guys real quick about zombies in the real world. I know it sounds stupid, but zombies. So nobody knows why the Mayan civilization came to an end, and there is a not insignificant number of people who actually speculate that it was some kind of zombie plague, or at the very least, aggressive cannibalism. There is evidence of people eating each other, but violently, of pieces being ripped apart, people being ripped apart and devoured, which even in cannibalistic societies is not normal. There's evidence of children eating their parents, of entire families, of entire towns just eating each other alive and being gone in a matter of days. This is not normal practice even for cannibals, even in the event of a drought. So there are some people who speculate that it was some kind of zombie-like plague. But the actual idea of zombies came from voodoo priests called bokors. They used powder called cupadre, and it basically had a neurotoxin that would put the victim in a near death state. Their breathing would become super, super subdued. Their pulse would become very, very faint, and it would lead everyone to believe they were dead. They'd get buried alive, which is also not good for the brain. So by the time that the voodoo practitioner dug them up, they were almost brain dead and very open to suggestion. Now, this has all been recorded, but nobody knows if it's actual fact or just fabrications. Nonetheless, it's where the idea of zombies came from. I was so excited. I give up.
All right, when you figure out how to go to the next slide. All right, so now for some fictional zombies. Even though it's not zombie fiction, the idea of zombies in sci-fi is actually, or the undead in sci-fi more accurately, is from Frankenstein in 1818, because that was the first time in fiction period that someone brought the undead back to life using the scientific method. So that was considered a precursor to the zombie idea of fiction. And then in 1932, we have the first actual zombie film called White Zombie. And then we jumped 20 years about to I Am Legend, which, while not about zombies, was the idea of the closest idea to the modern day of the apocalypse around zombies, even though it was about vampires. And that actually inspired George Romero to make Night of the Living Dead in 1968, which is considered the first modern zombie film ever made. There is more to this history, obviously, because we still have plenty of zombie stuff, but this is the more important ones we deemed as a
Kind of the backbone.
Yeah.
And most people would say there are too many zombies. That's okay. So we're going to move into the different types of zombie, the different archetypes that zombies tend to fall under. And of course, the first being Night of the Living Dead style classic zombies. They move slow. They can only be killed by destroying the brain. This is seen in World War Z, the novel, not the movie,
The
which
real one.
doesn't exist.
the real one.
Exactly.
I actually quite enjoyed the movie, thank you.
There was no movie. I don't know what you're talking about.
There was a all right. So real talk. There was a fairly mediocre
Ryan,
film.
you went back.
Can you look around?
There we go. All right. So
Ryan, you want to just give me the mouse and
So-
whoever's over here will. Don't. I have a terrible idea.
It wasn't the worst plan I've ever had, but it was pretty bad. Apologies.
That's not.
This is bad.
There we go.
Alright.
Spoiler alert. So,
Spoilers!
spoilers, there's more to the presentation. Alright, so World War Z was purchased for the movie rights, and they decided to go off on their own and make an entirely different movie that had nothing to do with the source material, which upset a lot of people. Now, I personally think the movie was really, really mediocre. I didn't like it at all. But that's something we can talk about at the end, where we talk about the quality of zombie content that's coming out today. The point here is that there's two different scenarios for slow zombies. One is Walking Dead style, where everyone's infected. As soon as you die, when you die, you come back as a zombie, regardless. This is also seen in the excellent series of novels Day by Day Armageddon, where in contrast to World War Z, where you need to have a bite in order to become infected and become a zombie. I personally prefer the idea of a bite. It creates a lot more paranoia, but they're very different symbols. Where the bite represents, paranoia and fear of other people being infected. The zombification on death is more of a symbol of like your inevitable end, where people fear zombies because they fear dying. Okay.
Alright.
We're good. In terms of fighting the classic zombies, you're going to want to go with a hunting rifle. Not necessarily because it's the most powerful, but because hunting rifles are the easiest to come across. Their ammunition is the easiest to come across. It's also really light, which is good for long distance traveling. It's also really, really easy to use a hunting rifle. I can shoot pretty accurately with a hunting rifle, and if I can do it, anyone can. The best melee weapon that I've ever seen was the Shaolin Spade. Shaolin Spades are about yay tall. And as you can see, they have a crescent blade on one side and kind of a bell curve shaped blade on the other. To quote the Zombie Survival Guide by Max Brooks, it combines the safety of a spear with the efficiency of a katana. Remember, blades don't need reloading. The problem is that Shaolin Spades in good condition are going to be very, very difficult to find, nearly impossible to produce yourself, which is why most people go for the machete. It's an oldie, but a goodie. You can find those anywhere from Walmart to your local gardening store. I'm not joking. It's concerning. There are chainsaws in the clearance aisle.
Chainsaws are horrible for zombies.
Chainsaws are actually the worst weapon to fight zombies with.
You'll get
I think you see people that do.
Chainsaws, alright, so, A, chainsaws are loud, they're going to attract more zombies. B, chainsaws are heavy, you are not going to get very far. C, chainsaws need fuel, which you either need to carry more of, which is also going to slow you down, or it's not going to be particularly good for very long, and once it dies, you are basically left with an oversized spiked hammer.
I would also like to point out that chainsaws need to cut through bone. They don't cut through zombies like butter, like fiction does.
Also, chainsaws are super, super dangerous to wield. It is very easy that you could end up cutting off your own limbs. Yes.
How about computer keyboards that shoot zombies when you type the words there?
the thing with chainsaws.
We're talking about real world fighting the living dead. Be serious.
Also, the thing with the chainsaw, yeah, you'll get one, but after that, the chainsaw is useless, and there's a good chance that it will get stuck in the torso of the zombie.
That's something I wanted to talk about. You can't see it because of the quality of the image, but the machete in this image is actually bad. Because on one side, it's a clean blade. On the other side, it's serrated. You don't want to use serrated weapons when fighting the living dead because it is very likely that the blade is going to get stuck. And you turn to stab the next zombie, and you can't get your knife out, and then all of a sudden you're dead.
Only if it's dull.
In my personal opinion,
You ever try to sharpen a serrated knife?
Yeah.
that's the thing, but he makes it as a point.
If you're not bad.
Right. What's that machine dulls? It's basically
It means that there are like small spikes on the ridges. Like do you know what a bread knife looks like?
Have you seen?
I just know what a knife looks like.
Okay, so you can have like a smooth knife or, okay, thank you.
It's like a wavy pattern, right?
Yeah.
Or it looks like teeth.
So yeah, it looks like teeth, which is good for digging into something that you're trying to cut,
That's
unless
for
you
saw.
don't want it to dig in.
You don't want to saw if you're in a horde of zombies, if you're in that position, which you don't want to be in.
Don't use a serrated edge then.
That's what we're saying. Anyways, moving on.
I'm gonna use a blunt weapon anyway, like a bat.
Alright, we're now going to fast zombies, which I couldn't find the origin of because it seems multiple works of fiction claim to be the origin of. But what I can definitively say is 28 Days Later popularized the idea. They are much scarier than classic zombies because they move fast. But however, there's a downside to them, which is they are significantly less durable, whereas classic zombies, you have to shoot them in the head. Fast zombies, for the most part, you can shoot anywhere and they are taken out. The problem is they move fast, and if you're around a bunch of them, that's a problem.
Also, the bad zombies have to become superhumans for some odd reason.
Well, they're dead. These
So-
are humans that have.
No, I'm talking about the ones that run 30 miles an hour and jump over a building.
Yeah, that's also a thing. Fast zombies do that. I don't like it, but that's a thing they do.
They also somehow managed to form a giant human ladder to get over a wall.
They look like
Now,
There were a lot.
fast zombies usually end up being, whereas classic zombies are usually transformed by a bite or the people, the survivors were already infected. Fast zombies, for the most part, tend to be infected by a virus of some sort, and the virus mutates and transforms them into zombies.
make them feral.
Just a rage virus. These aren't actual zombies.
They are actual zombies. I have, personally.
They're all
I've
zombies.
written several things on the topic.
They're all zombies.
So have I, including this PowerPoint.
Damn.
To quote
Damn,
Bernie Burns,
Afraid.
to quote Bernie Burns, the founder of Rooster, it's all zombies.
Yeah, no.
They are zombies.
Because people were wrong, kept bombarding him.
Just for
Believe
examples,
before.
World War Z, which is totally not a movie, 28 Days Later, as I stated, and Left 4 Dead is a big one for me, specifically the common infected, which we will talk about more Left 4 Dead later in this lecture.
What about those?
And people suffering from a rage virus.
Okay, in my personal definition, and we were talking about this earlier today, the definition of zombie, from my perspective, is something that is, for lack of better phrasing, mindless, where they have lost their control of their body and they're off of basic instincts. Therefore, the quote-unquote rage virus and the Left 4 Dead zombies and all those fast zombies are zombies by that definition.
Much like there's no hard definition of science fiction, there's no real hard definition of zombie. People are willing to stretch it to fit whatever.
There is. It's the George Romero zombie.
That's not, except not really, because if anything, the most accurate form of zombie was White Zombie, where Bela Lugosi played a voodoo witch doctor who, basically brainwashed a girl into becoming a mindless zombie.
And then-
Was that a horror film?
That was a horror film.
That was the first zombie movie based on
And
voodoo
then
lore.
the first documented case of zombies sounds like the Left 4 Dead, with the rage people eating each other by civilization.
Are you talking about the guy that was high on bath salts?
That too was the thing. We forgot that. All right. Anyways,
We didn't forget it.
to fight fast zombies, you run, and then cry because it's fast zombies and you're dead.
Cardio, first rule.
In all seriousness, you actually want to use more fast weaponry like SMGs. You could build trenches. I know that's been a thing that Fictions has done. I don't know if it would personally work. Melee weapons are usually a no, unless we're talking about Left 4 Dead, where it's fine in Left 4 Dead. Yes?
I'm not very familiar with zombies, but I do recall a few cases like fast zombies that are much better at breaking down barricades, like windows.
I specifically said trenches. So
Mainly because they hurl their entire body at it at full speed.
Yeah.
I break both.
I didn't say build a wall. I
Make the
said
zombies pay for it.
so trenches. And I personally am not the biggest fan of this theory. Personally, I think if there's fast zombies, we're all screwed. But
Speak for yourself. I got
You underplay the military a little bit.
Mario, your plan is to become infected as soon as possible.
Not my plan.
To be fair, that's a pretty alright plan. Anyways, we're gonna move on because there's more to this slideshow.
Okay, so we're talking about intelligent zombies, which kind of ruined his definition
I
of
thought they
zombies.
were mindless.
That's
We
my definition.
argue a
We
lot about
argued
the
about
definition
this
of zombie.
earlier today.
We ended up just including whatever, anything that either of
You
us
wanted
would
to talk
consider.
about it, so I said, okay, fine.
I think it's a really interesting question. Intelligent zombies are exactly what they sound like. They are zombies who act like normal people, except they happen to be dead and also crave human flesh, like you do.
Like the artificial human in Frankenstein, right?
Frankenstein didn't. I wouldn't classify Frankenstein as a zombie because
Companionship, not flesh.
yes. In addition to that, he was not something that had lived, brought back, but rather he was something new, like put together out of pieces of dead people.
You have a human brain.
Yeah,
But it wasn't.
It wasn't from one person. They like took the brain from someone else. They took like this arm from someone else. He was a conglomerate.
And because he did not identify as the original person, but instead a new living sentient thing.
Was it established that he didn't?
Yes.
Frankenstein is his own thing. He's not a zombie.
He
not
feels
even,
like- yeah.
He's just a creature.
An artificial human.
Yes. So, intelligent zombies. You can see this in iZombie, where the main character is someone who essentially functions like a normal person, but needs to control her cravings by like casually eating brains. Also in Marvel Zombies, where all of the Marvel superheroes are turned to zombies. They fight over the Quicksilver kind of eats all of them, all of the humans, which results in very, very scant resources left, and it eventually whittles down to Spider-Man, Wolverine, the Hulk, who turns back into Bruce Banner whenever he's eaten, Captain America, and Iron Man. I highly recommend the first volume. It's really interesting.
Fun fact: it is written by Robert Kirkman, creator of Walking Dead.
Yeah. So that's a lot of fun. But what I think all of these do is they kind of ask questions about like the spectrum of sentience, because there's always this kind of like base instinct for them to go out and kill people, which is probably a nod to our own instinct to like be top dog by any means necessary. I think it's a really interesting kind of take on zombies, even though it doesn't fit into the classic genres. So fighting intelligent zombies, don't do it. I mean, they're either trying to get by like normal people, or in the case of Marvel Zombies, you're not going to win. That's not really a question. You couldn't take Wolverine when he could, sort of die.
Tony Stark, but you're not going to take Iron Man.
You're also not going to take zombie Iron Man. And like for all other cases of intelligent zombies, you would fight them like normal people, but they also behave like normal people. So don't. It's a dick move. Don't be that guy.
Don't discriminate.
Strongly worded letters are an excellent way to fight zombies with feeling.
All right.
Okay.
So this, there's obviously gonna be more after this. With zombies that we haven't included because there's so many freaking zombies. But these were the ones that we had trouble kind of defining personally, and there's totally more because I actually was struggling to get rid of some when I was thinking of these. So the first one is Left 4 Dead, and I know I said earlier that it's fast zombies. This is why it's weird. They're special affected, and while this isn't necessarily common, Left 4 Dead's the most famous idea of special affected, where you have the charger who charges people, you have the hunter who actually jumps on people and tears their flesh out, you have the spitter who spits acid at people and is terrible and you can die from the acid, you have the jockey who literally jumps on your back and rides you and tries to drag you somewhere you don't want to be. I'm not kidding about that, by the way. You have the tank, which, that's the tank. I'm not even going to explain that. It's freaking tank. The witch, which is the most horrifying thing ever, because if what it is it's a little girl that cries, or not a little girl, but it's a creature that cries, and if you anger it through lights or sound, the witch will attack you and won't stop until either she's dead or you're dead, witches are terrifying. The boomer has some kind of weird
Biome.
Yeah, biome, I guess. Pheromone would be a word. It attracts zombies with its vomit and its guts. I don't know how that evolution happened, but it did, and it's cool. And then the smoker, which literally shoots its tongue out like hundreds of feet and drags you towards it.
Scorpion?
Kind of. So the special infected for me and Left 4 Dead, that was a really unique thing, which is why it's here, and why it's kind of has its own slide.
So everything has been copied since then.
Yeah, and everything's been copying it since then because this was a really big deal in the video game community and the zombie community by extension. Oh, another thing, most of these are, actually all of these are video games, I think, because oddly enough, video games are the ones that are weird with how they deal with zombies. You can go next slide.
In gameplay.
So this is the other slide, which I define them as an extraterrestrial host, even though there's one that's kind of weird that I don't know where to put him exactly. This is a head crab from Half-Life, which this was if you don't know, Half-Life is considered like one of the grandfathers of the shooters. It's not the only one, obviously. And it wasn't really early to create the shooter genre, but whatever. This is a parasite that jumps on people's heads and takes control of their entire body. And head crabs are terrifying, and I think based off of alien xenomorphs, because of how they are designed, which I think is cool. We have necromorphs way up there. The image is kind of bad, but necromorphs are from Dead Space, and I admit I haven't played all of Dead Space, so I might get something wrong here on accident. I apologize for that, but from what I understand, they're parasites that take over dead beings. Happens to be human in Dead Space.
Good enough.
Am I wrong? If you want, you can correct me.
That's a lot of necromorph transformation is like a very tricky thing. Like sometimes the marker does it. Sometimes there's like different archetypes of necromorphs that transform people. Like it's
that's a very general definition.
Like I'm gonna say that it's not quite a parasite. It's very unknown.
Okay, I admit I'm not very well versed in Dead Space. I only really played the first game, and I don't think I actually finished it. But Dead Space I thought was cool enough to mention in passing. And then we have Halo, which also does a parasite idea, but almost like Left 4 Dead, but not really. There's almost looks like types of the Flood, which is what they're called. They're an ancient race that is trying to devour the galaxy. On this slide is only the feral types, which are combat types, which are like the ones that are taking over people. You have the infection forms, which are really tiny, but they're there. They're the little things that infect stuff. And then we have carrier forms, which contain the infection forms and explode. I also thought that was really cool. And then we have husks. Husks I actually debated not putting on this slide at all because, again, almost with the necromorphs, we don't know a lot about them, but this is what we do know.
They're just cybernetics.
The problem is they used to be human. So what happens is, and they show this in Mass Effect 1, and it's the only game they show the process, and we don't actually know what happens during said process, we just know what happens. They drag human corpses and put them on spikes known as dragon teeth. Said dragon teeth does some process or it turns the entire human body into completely 100% cybernetic. And then they become husks. So, Cooper?
Also, what the main antagonists of Mass Effect called the Reapers, they indoctrinate people to put them under control. usually a very slow and drawn out process to like trick the person into thinking, oh, that the Reapers are right. But I actually think I read in the Codex that Hus and the other forms of indoctrinated life forms, they come in a lot of different forms. They're a result of rapid indoctrination, where the Reapers basically pummel the mind until they submit within like seconds, and then they form mindless beings under Reaper control.
Okay.
I don't think it's necessarily
It's a weird one.
corpses, but
It's a weird one.
but then like you get Hus that are intelligent to use firearms. You get like Hus that can float and like scream really loud. The ones giant like tanks. The ones that's just like it's crazy.
It's totally a weird one. The reason why it's on here is they're not human anymore. They're definitely not. Like, and I actually don't remember if it's the same thing with the other doctor, but they are 100% cybernetic. Their blood is no longer human blood. It's actually green. Just how much they changed in this process.
Yeah, I think the tricky part, and I don't think it's any different for Husks than it is for anything else on this particular slide, is do you consider something that is being intelligently controlled by something else, but is itself mindless, a zombie?
So
I don't know where.
the reason why I personally do, and yeah, I admit this is why this slide exists, and it's after the weird part.
These are all hive minds, except I don't
Yeah.
know about headcrabs.
I don't think we know, because Half-Life 3 never happened. I'm not kidding.
Not good.
Yet to happen.
Keep telling stuff.
But yeah, I admit that. By my definition, it is because the voodoo zombies, which were the original phrasing for the word, the origin, what happened was there was a shaman of some sort controlling said zombies.
So that was just through the power of suggestion. That wasn't like
Yeah.
their will is gone and I control this.
Yes, their will was gone.
That's how indoctrination works. It's basically the Reapers suggest thoughts to you, because indoctrination typically takes years for someone to be under Reaper control. But Hus, they basically say, screw that, we need an army, so they do it within like seconds. So someone's just completely demorphized and like screwed up because their minds basically got
Yes.
destroyed.
I'm saying that like the voodoo type stuff, like there's a sense of will still there. It's just incredibly weak.
Do you want to do this, Ryan?
All this stuff, it's just gone. They eliminated it.
In all recordings, it's to the point where they're mindless drones and serve the voodoo priest until the priest dies.
Like, their will is entirely gone. They have no way of gaining their will back.
Kind of like a divisional vampire to these rules.
I mean, it's more like vampires and their, not their sires, their, I can't remember the correct word for the assistant.
Yeah. I don't know where. I remember what you're talking about. But yeah, Husks, I totally question putting on the slide. I sat there like for a solid 5-10 minutes debating if it should go on here, and then whether or not it should be on this slide in particular, because it's definitely weird. But
Same thing. Has everyone played the Resistance games on PlayStation? I know about it.
I thought you meant the
just before.
No.
Resistance aliens.
Chimeras.
That was just
Yeah, the Chimera is an alien race that it came down with the Tunguska attack in Russia in 1908, the big meteor that exploded in the forest. It was basically an alien race that acts like a parasite and basically changes you into a chimera, and you serve the overload hive mind. Kind of like the Flood. Probably the Flood's closest thing.
Yeah. So I do love this discussion. This is the last kind of weird zombie category for me, and Ryan has one more slide, and then it's just discussion. So we can do more discussion in like a bit. Ryan, you can take over for a bit.
Okay. I wanted to talk about a novel whose name I cannot remember that I'm looking up. There it is. Okay. So I can't believe I forgot to put this on the PowerPoint, but there's a novel called Bone Shaker, which is super sweet, and it's about zombies in the zombies in a steampunk setting. The Civil War continues to go on. The South has successfully established themselves as their own country, and in a desperate attempt for more natural resources, a guy took a giant drill and dug into the earth looking for oil, and it instead released this weird gas that basically turned people into mindless hulking zombies. 10 out of 10, highly recommend the novel. But I kind of want to talk about why zombies are so popular. They're really open to interpretation. They have this almost. Have any of you read Understanding Comics? Everyone should read Understanding Comics.
I agree.
That book is the best book. Understanding Comics talks about this idea where the more abstract an image is, the easier it is for you to turn it into a symbol for something else. The more detailed and exact it is, the more you see it as itself, as its own identity, and less as a canvas for you to project onto. So zombies, in a way, serve as a place for people to project onto because they're people, but without any of the defining features that makes an individual. They're everything we don't like about ourselves. They can represent the worst of humanity. They can represent, your fear of illness, your fear of death, this kind of dread. Whatever you hate the most can be projected onto zombies. In addition, they serve really well as a story point because it is entirely up to the creator whether they're supposed to be the primary antagonist, like season 1 of The Walking Dead, or kind of a background looming threat,
Like this
like season 6 of The Walking Dead, where people are the bigger threat. Zombies are the easiest way to establish, at least in my opinion. Zombies are one of the favorites in terms of I want to write apocalyptic fiction, simply because how easily our society crumbles when the higher-ups kind of stop. Yes?
I argue that nuclear apocalyptic fiction is better.
Of course you do.
What about nuclear apocalypse that causes zombies?
That's Apocalypse World. That's something else entirely. So, what do you guys think? I personally really like zombies because I'm more interested in the dynamics between people. I'm more interested in watching people kind of tear each other apart and develop factions and eventually band together than I am in seeing people fighting some big supernatural menace. That's why I think zombies are super interesting. What about you guys? Why do you like zombies?
So why do you think there's been this huge influx of zombie-related media in the gaming market right now?
It's easy. Left 4 Dead did it. I'm not even kidding.
Because shotguns are fun.
I'm actually not, I don't know if this is it, but Left 4 Dead 2 and Left 4 Dead 1, by extension, exploded. Because Left 4 Dead 1 was almost in the perfect type of niche of, when zombies were getting popular again. So Left 4 Dead was perfect right there. And Left 4 Dead is, just in general, not even in the zombie, in the horror community, it's just the go-to for, we want to make a co-op game. Oh, look, Left 4 Dead is the co-op game. So I think it's just oh, look, Left 4 Dead did it and did it well, so there's a market for it.
So, kind of going back to the idea that you can project whatever you want, fighting zombies gives you all the thrill of basically killing people without having any of the questionable morality of killing people. It's okay, they're zombies. It's kind of it's okay, they're robots. Joke.
Also, they're all just reading and writing, so you can make them all look exactly the same. No one cares.
Yeah, design is way easier.
Especially Left 4 Dead had the advantage of, obviously it was a Valve game, and Valve tends to give a little extra attention, and because they control the distribution platform, they're able to have weekends where it's free to play, or where it's on sale for really cheap, or make it cheap to buy multiple copies to play with friends. Then the friend tries it in co-op, gets hooked, wants to play with more people. The co-op, the co-op not only was a good example of co-op done well, but the fact that it supported co-op means it's really easy for someone to try it with someone else and then get hooked. and want to copy themselves. And then
Almost spreading like a zombie virus itself.
It's one of the
But also, it came out, but at least the first one, sort of earlier on in the exploring zombie games, and where a lot of games didn't have differentiating factors. Left 4 Dead did, and not only had differentiating factors, but had more than others because they were both tackling the co-op route, they were tackling the storytelling route, and they were the storytelling angle, and they were tackling the angle of having the special infected that, as we saw in our presentation, sort of stand out in people's memories more than some of the more generic zombie games.
The only thing I will say in response to that is I don't know if it was just Steam, because I don't know if you have the Left 4 Dead 1 and Left 4 Dead 2 were both fairly successful on Xbox 360.
I didn't know the sales there, but obviously having a cross-platform release.
That totally helped.
I played it on P60.
In terms of talking about The Walking Dead, because we can't really not talk about The Walking Dead as one of the most successful zombie franchises in recent history. I can't think of another TV show with a horror TV show with an ongoing storyline. So my mind is brought to things like Twilight Zone or Black Mirror or American Horror Story, where storylines last for an episode, 2 episodes, in the case of American Horror Story, a whole season. But because the zombie apocalypse provides this idea that there is no such thing as safe, only safer, allows the protagonists to be in constant threat, in constant danger, and that allows people to keep watching to see what happens next.
I do have a thing to add to that. I don't know if you read the initial letter hacks Kirkman wrote initially. Okay, well in that letter hacks he kind of explained his idea for the series, and it has worked out, and why he started writing the series. It is an interesting read. It's fairly short too. His idea was basically Walking Dead is a never-ending zombie movie with the same consistent characters. For the most part. And that, I don't know if it was the first, but it's definitely one of the first ones that were popular to even try to think like that. Because Kirkman was an avid zombie fan before he started writing Walking Dead, and he always wanted more to zombie stories. He wanted to see the survivors grow as people, and Walking Dead did that, and I think that's why it's so prevalent.
I mean, it's the same idea as the TV show where you can have this story of they find a safe haven until it is no longer safe, and they find another safe haven until that's no longer safe. They come, but each time their civilization becomes a little stronger, a little more elaborate, until they eventually just hit actual society, and we'll see what happens then.
So how do you think that the zombie apocalypse can get started and get the foothold it needs, especially the fight transmitted, when in many parts of America we have to issue people licenses so they don't kill too many things?
I point to World War Z. I'm not even kidding.
World War Z is I'm going to take this to shamelessly plug this book. This is the best piece of zombie media I have ever consumed. 10 out of 10. Author Max Brooks does his homework and paints this terrifyingly plausible idea of a zombie apocalypse where it starts in the third world countries which try to cover up any incident for fear of losing what little trait they have.
They're playing ink in that shit.
Yeah.
Madagascar shutting down?
Then refugees, thinking there's a cure in the West, flee when they're infected, thinking that they might be able to find something, which of course they don't. You look at the organ market. You look at, I'm trying to think some of the other initial incidents.
Either way, I will also help him shamelessly plug.
Oh my
because
God,
I have actually told Max Brooks this to his face. If the zombie apocalypse ever happens, I personally think it will be exactly if not fairly close to World War Z.
Yeah.
Dead serious.
World War Z does the best job. Although, there is actually, I watched a piece by a neuroscientist from, I want to say it was MIT, and he basically put together the plausibility of a zombie apocalypse, which would be a virus that essentially shut down your higher brain functions, which is entirely plausible. There are fungi and parasites that do that too. What?
Cordyceps.
Yes.
Last of Us.
People turn the fungi out.
Okay, Last of Us. I'm sorry about not putting Last of Us in because I could have. I
They're
actually would
not
have.
zombies.
Yes, we.
It's a living host.
All right,
They act like they act in a zombie-like.
What I would say, and what I would have said, and I am sorry, because I actually played Last of Us. I haven't played Last of Us. So I'm sorry, I forgot. I didn't put it in because I didn't think of it.
Cordyceps is a real thing.
Video games are his division. But yes, there are.
The fungus that takes over. They usually go with ants, and ants basically walk around like zombies.
Yes.
And what happens in Last of Us, it mutates to affect humans, which could be a real thing that can happen.
It's actually super terrifying. I've seen it. It takes over. It takes over the ants. It has the ant crawl up onto the highest leaf in the field, and then kind of blasts, killing the ant in the process, but spreading the spores in the field. Holy shit. Look up real life. Look up real life zombies and parasites. It's horrifying. You will never sleep again.
While we're on this, I gave my definition. Do you want to give your definition?
To me, the integral part, I think it's okay to talk about things that act like zombies or that feel like zombies. But to me, in order for something to be classified as a zombie, there needs to be a point in time where it was either dead or perceived dead. Going back to the original voodoo back origin of zombies, everyone thought they were dead when actually their pulse was just super, super low, thus giving it the feeling of rising from the dead. Same thing happens in Max Brooks' World War Z. In The Walking Dead, they actually legitimately die and then come back. Same with Day by Day Armageddon. So personally, that's my only serious requirement for what I would consider to be a zombie.
Cordyceps does? In Last of Us, they basically die and then the fungus takes
No,
over.
it's full. You're a fully living host.
Yes, but the question becomes is there a point in time where you essentially go into a coma or give the appearance of or hit near death?
You are actively performing functions. You just don't have control. Like the parasite is in control of your own function.
So how do you
if there's
define
a-
Resident Evil out of curiosity? How do you define Resident Evil?
I don't know. I know nothing about it.
Okay, Resident Evil is actually known to be zombies. Resident Evil, I even question, honestly. Resident Evil, from what I remember, it's mostly genetic experiments. And if someone is more familiar with Resident Evil, please jump in. Where they actually just basically force some kind of host of parasite of some sort into you, and you don't technically die during the process.
So they're like mutants then.
Yeah, mutant is a better term, but Resident Evil is known to be.
With the whole living host thing, when's the point in time where the human dies and it's just the fungus in a human body?
The human doesn't die if it's a living host.
But the host.
So by your definition, you wouldn't consider classic voodoo zombies to be real
It would be
zombies.
alive.
I feel like your definition is super, super
Definition
narrow.
alive.
I feel like the only media we've discussed at all that could classify as what your definition of zombies is The Walking Dead. And Day by Day Armageddon, which I didn't put in that.
Actually,
If they
some
don't
George
have
Romero is
pulse,
questionable.
They're dead.
So to you, it needs to be dead and stay dead.
Yes. If by definition the person is dead, then they are dead. Like no chance of like, oh, they don't have a heart, like they don't have a heartbeat, they don't have any higher brain function, they're dead.
So I think Walking Dead might be the only thing by that definition. Like if we're gonna go,
Yeah, and
by
like the George Romero stuff.
Because
some of
George
the
Romero stuff is not.
questionable, though.
They were
Yes, it is,
dead.
because people are coming back from the dead.
Yes, but
they're rising out of the grave.
there's no establishing shot of that in Night of the Living Dead. You just see the zombies when they happen. You never actually see anyone coming out of their grave. And
Made other movies than Night of the Living Dead.
do you really want to talk about the other George Romero movies?
Not really. Dead's pretty alright.
Do you see that's the best movie from that franchise?
The 2004 remake?
No, the original. The original's amazing.
I've actually never seen the original.
I've seen the remake.
Okay, the remake. Okay, I haven't seen the remake.
The
I
remake-
know Zack Snyder directed it, so I should
How
watch
about
it.
the colorized version of the original?
The remake's alright, but the remake has fat
So the original
original's
is a
so good.
weird one. We watched it last year, and I actually forgot how
We watched it last semester.
Wow, I'm weirded out. Okay, my mind's weird. Anyways, there's a lot of weird things in Night of the Living Dead by our current idea of what a zombie is, because they actually stab people as zombies. They legitimately take there's a scene where someone actually takes a knife and starts stabbing someone to death.
Wait, the zombies?
The zombie does.
I guess technically it would be like a proto-zombie though. If that's an isolated incident where that would happen, and then in later movies that doesn't occur, then I would say that's just.
So there's actually there's an interesting thing that I found out fairly recently. I forget the name of the other person, but George Romero and another person fairly involved in Night of the Living Dead actually had a huge argument where to take the series, and that other guy, what is it?
I don't remember the name, but I know they split and made their own different
Yeah,
brands.
so there's actually two. Night of the Living Dead is a prequel to two zombie movies, which is weird, and is actually, I think, part of the reason why it's public domain. Because it got really weird and a bunch of stuff happened that I don't know because it's law stuff. But there's actually two different branches of Night of the Living Dead sequels. One of them, George Romero directed all of them. The other one, this other guy did. And I don't know enough about either to talk about it, but I do know part of it is their ideas of zombies are fairly different.
I feel like trying to spend time defining what is a zombie is kind of pointless. I like to hear other people's definitions for what they consider a zombie, but trying to compartmentalize this conversation by saying, well, that doesn't count because that's not a zombie, is just kind of pointless, argumentative. I don't know. Yes?
Do zombies have a sense of self-preservation?
Depends on the zombie.
Yeah.
I would basically say zombies don't have a sense of self-preservation unless they are self-aware overall.
So,
By my definition, they're not.
so,
But
for example, if I stood on the other side of a 15-foot gap, a 30-foot drop, they would just let me.
That is a thing that happens in World War Z a lot, and it's really cool. That's one of the ways they fight zombies in when they get into big urban environments, where they will stand on top of the building and basically shout, holler, fire their weapon to get attention of zombies in nearby buildings who slowly slouch towards the man and then plummet to their death.
Okay. So, following up on that, how would the zombies not just destroy themselves by, knocking into door frames at a higher speed than
they do sometimes.
I don't know about. Slow zombies move so slowly that it's not going to happen.
I do remember something in, I remember it was World War Z or Zombies About to Die, where there was totally cases where the zombies accidentally killed themselves.
Yeah.
It's fairly common because their higher brain function is just not there.
That's one of the primary arguments of how Walking Dead is going to end. Is all the zombies just die. Either through decay over time, or they just kill themselves because they just run into anything.
Yeah, if you look at
That's honestly how most zombie apocalypse will end. It may take a century, but all the zombies are going to die because their flesh is just literally going to decay and fall apart. Unless it's some kind of magical spell or aliens involved that keep them alive, that's what's going to happen.
But
We're gonna see
highly
60s, and that will happen.
I highly recommend you read World War Z because there's a point in the novel where that is the entirety of the conversation. And something else I want to talk about World War Z, and something that I've noticed in zombie fiction that I have not seen in almost anywhere else, is the narrative structure, where a lot of zombie stuff is typical. You have World War Z, which is the narrative is framed as the zombie war has already ended. There is a reporter who is going from person to person who lived through the zombie apocalypse and interviews them about their experience.
I would like to comment. A big reason why me and him both, like, maybe not like, because I haven't actually
That's
seen
in World War Z.
That's in World War Z.
If the
the
World
book.
War Z movie was actually accurate to the book, this is my idea, and he agrees with me. I know because we talked about this. It would be a documentary style, where you have someone as a reporter interviewing people, sitting down with them, and they flash back. That's what the movie should be
That's
if it was
almost
accurate to the book. And that's what me and him both
How
want.
long does World War Z last?
What do you mean? Like the war
Does
itself?
Does the American government roll over in like 3 days, like some?
The American government,
The American government continues to exist throughout the entirety of the zombie war. I don't want to go into details because
there is a
It's
few.
not an apocalypse, it's just a war.
no, it is an apocalypse.
It's an apocalypse. It's just not the apocalypse you normally think of. It's a more realistic take on the apocalypse, in my opinion, because while the government the government's not as powerful anymore. I would like to point that out.
Does society collapse?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Society collapses, and the government, while still being there, is not as present at all. Some governments do end up collapsing. I'm not going to go into specifics.
I was going to say, you also get this kind of global perspective on the zombie apocalypse, where you see how, Chinese culture and Japanese culture and Russian culture compared to...
If you can't tell, we both love this book way too much.
Also, because of the way the narrative is framed, the audiobook gets a full cast to read it, where each interview is a different actor.
Isn't Nathan Fillion on it?
All right, they've produced 3 versions of the book. One was the original edition that doesn't have the whole book, but has some of them have full stories, some of them have abridged stories, and some stories aren't there at all. They then released a more complete version that has all of the stories, but any of the stories that were abridged in the first version continue to be abridged. And then there's a third version that has no big name actors, but they do the whole book. I highly recommend the one with big name actors. Nathan Fillion's in it. He's really good. Mark Hamill is in it. He is phenomenal. Alan Alda, Hawkeye, anyone? He's in the book. You get a really great cast.
The point is, if you like zombies at all, you need to read World War Z at one point. I don't care.
Even if you don't like zombies. If you're listen to the audiobook.
Audiobook. I'm not even kidding. I was actually reading like the other day, which is funny. How the audiobook is actually perfect for an audiobook because it, like in the novel, it is actually just a series of interviews already.
Okay.
So
the original point I was getting to was the narrative structure is really interesting, as is Day by Day Armageddon, which is written as a journal, where every day he writes what happened to him that day, as this ex-soldier lives through the zombie apocalypse. They've released 3 books. I really like the first one. The second one was okay. I have not read the third one, but in that one, the origin of the zombie virus is interesting. But that is very much a battle for resources, way more than a battle for survival. But it provides, the writer takes this really different approach to writing a book instead of a traditional kind of linear storyline, where instead it's kind of fragmented pieces, much like World War Z. Why do you guys think that zombie fiction kind of lends itself to experimental narrative more than others? Or at least, why do you think writers don't employ that in other genres?
Why?
Probably because it's so familiar already. Like, everyone knows like what a zombie is, and everyone's like familiar with the zombie apocalypse. So all of your work, if you don't start out with any world building, like that's not a problem because it's inherently a little bit mysterious how it comes to, and in the book and later you can explore how it happened. So because it's a really good like seed for a world already, and especially also because it takes place in the present or the near present or the near future rather, that you don't have to like establish timelines. It's like in our world, but there's zombies. And everyone's like, great, good foundation. so you can experiment more with other parts of the novel.
Along with that, I actually can't think of other examples of that besides Max Brooks stuff, but I do think that it also lends itself to being subverted for that very same reason. People are so familiar with zombie fiction that it's very easy to play with those assumptions. With something like intelligent zombies, all of those are great examples. iZombie is basically a cop procedural, which isn't what you normally think of with zombies. In the Flesh is a drama about like oppression that's just kind of, it's very different from everything else zombie you would think of traditionally.
It's about gays.
Well, yeah, there's gay zombies. There's.
But like, I mean, the metaphor's real strong. The metaphor's real
The
strong.
metaphor is right in your face.
Maybe use the metaphor, but also do it literally.
In the Flesh, it's about gay zombies. 10 out of 10.
Oh, that's
recommend.
the best name for that sort of.
Yeah, it's a 9-episode British miniseries. It's not anywhere near sci-fi, but it's very very traditional zombie, risen from the dead mysteriously.
Is this the subjugation of zombies?
Yeah,
And an allegory, the subjugation of homosexuals?
yeah,
There's an
or
allegory.
anybody who's different.
There's an allegory, but then they also say, you know what, the allegory is also going to be literal, while we also have the metaphor for it.
Yes, and actually, they even take it a step further with the characters that they choose for it. But
Characters are ostracized for being metaphorically gay and also literally gay.
yes, but
Since it's British,
and
they
metaphorically and
also
literally
segregate
zombies.
the poor zombies.
Is that the one where they
Yes.
introduce the possibility that one of the characters isn't actually a zombie, but is one of the people who think they're dead or feel like they're in a dead body based on a real world psychological condition?
No, I don't think so.
Or they have, they
I
have
think
a
if you're that
difference.
crazy, you just
It's
die
not
very
hard.
early on.
The basic premise is that in 2009, most of everybody who died in 2009 rose inexplicably from the dead, crawled their way out of their graves, started eating people. There was a zombie apocalypse, and then they made a cure, and if you get injected in the back of the neck with your medicine every day, you go back to being a normal, self-aware person who can't eat and doesn't feel and doesn't breathe and doesn't bleed, but is completely normal otherwise, and is hated by society because, your kind were horrible murderers for several years.
People? Nobody heard that. Good. I heard something that, there it is. Something that In the Flesh does that I'm actually also really interested to hear your opinions on. They don't use the word zombie.
They do.
They do?
Yeah, they do usually in like sarcastic ways. There's like one character who is partially deceased who says, "What's worse than a zombie? A drunk zombie!" And
But they don't use it. It's not the
It's not
The go-to.
correct term.
it's
The go-to. The politically correct term is partially deceased. Yes. Thank you. Partially deceased syndrome sufferer. It was earlier in the slideshow. But the
Yes, it is.
general slang term for them is rotters. In The Walking Dead, they're, surprise, walkers. Why? Why do you think that writers and content creators want to avoid the word zombie?
To add to that, Fear the Walking Dead, the spinoff, is confirmed to not use the term walkers. They're going to have a completely different term for zombies, which is interesting.
It's
Unalive things.
local term of the group.
K-word stuff.
Taylor?
I think it comes back again to that genericism. Everybody knows what a zombie is, and they lend themselves very easily to euphemism. So if you can make your universe that much more unique by using a different term, you should.
It's interesting.
I actually do know why Kirkman doesn't use it. Do you?
Yes.
The universe where zombie fiction was never established.
There it is.
Yeah.
Cameron.
So,
Is it really?
where do animals fall, especially predatory animals fall?
Um,
in the zombie area.
Zombie Survival Guide talks about that.
Wait, what do you mean by predatory animals?
Like dogs, the mountain lions, like regular animals that usually feast on the prey that could be human sized?
So, depends on the physiology from medium to medium, or from from franchise to franchise. In a lot of times, it's not explored. I know in Max Brooks' World War Z, the zombie flesh is toxic, and any animal that consumes it will die. I also know that there's a character who's like, yeah, I know that people will say that humanity, like the casualty of the zombie war was our innocence or our humanity. No, casualty of war was the whales.
All those zombies that were sea.
No, all those sad, hungry refugees.
I think Walking Dead also has a similar logic with that. I don't actually remember off the top of my head, but because
zombie animals in The Walking Dead.
they do not have zombie animals. That I know.
What was the also did talk about like zombies interacting with people? Just sort of assume that if you're on a boat, then you're good, and just leave.
World War Z does directly talk about that.
And World War Z went into that a lot more than I think any other work really has.
Fear the Walking Dead might be, but I don't care.
World War Z goes so in depth into a lot of things that people don't think of, like what about sewers? What about zombies in the sewers? And when we are fighting to take back our cities, you have to have people that are fighting to kill all of the zombies in the sewers, which is the worst. You have people going in like basically one-man submarines with kind of robotic arms to go underwater and kill zombies.
They got rid of their arms and replaced them with robotic arms?
No, it's like almost like a mech suit, like a diving mech suit. You have they talk about using dogs to fight zombies. Sometimes well, and sometimes the Russians thought it'd be a good idea to put explosives on dogs and have them run under the zombies.
The thing I like, honestly, about World War Z, it's the only work I know of that's done this. It actually goes almost culture by culture and says, this is how this culture deals with the zombie apocalypse.
That is exactly what happens, and it's super sweet.
Thing is, what I want to see explored in a zombie apocalypse is basically the American military not to come into a zombie, and basically it's never really a threat almost, because honestly, in the real world, the American military probably would not lose the zombies.
World War Z proves that wrong.
So entertaining.
World War Z,
How?
I'm not kidding, just read it.
How did they get these tanks?
It has a very good logic.
Yeah, I can't even
It's
begin to
perfect.
explain. You just have to
It's a spoiler.
If you're interested in just like a little something about like governments dealing with zombies, it's kind of a joke thing, but there's a book called Alternative Histories, and it explores the idea that like, oh yeah, all these like Godzilla-esque wacky monsters were around, and yeah, there were zombies, and this is how this government dealt with them.
Oh, did we weaponize
It's
them?
kind
Is
of-
that what happened?
Oh,
Talk
actually,
about that just
Weaponize
like
them?
really nonchalant, like it was just a thing.
I do have something that would do that. I haven't read it all, but I met the creators at New York Comic Con a couple years ago, and I had the comic signed in my room somewhere. It's called FUBAR. The point of FUBAR is it's an alternate history of America, but they're zombies. That's it. So if that's kind of what you're looking for, of like something like that, I do point to that. Also, Left 4 Dead in a comic does go into how the military was dealing with it, and basically they shut themselves into a base, and
They became the Enclave.
We are the
in
Walking
a way,
Dead.
they didn't know what special infected were. That's how bad they were. Bit extreme, but.
Joe, you had a question?
Is Frankenstein's monster considered a zombie?
We talked about that. It's not.
Specifically the movie version. I know the book version is necromancy, so I don't know if that counts.
Well, the book version is
that, but
never
I'll talk about
established
that.
as magic. It's actually
It's occult alchemy.
Science.
It's alchemy.
It's Doctor Who science, okay?
So
You're just looking for science.
the thing is,
Think of a dead body.
That's the movie version. The book
It's-
version is alchemy.
it is alchemy, but how it's done, it is taking the scientific parts of alchemy.
Okay, I'm talking about the
Which
movie
is why I
version.
disagree with it
I'm
being
talking about the movie
necromancy.
version anyway. The movie version is not a zombie.
Anyway,
Both versions are
both versions are not zombies because you are not bringing back a living thing, but rather creating a new thing out of the dead. If that makes sense. Because the being was self-aware and felt independent of their previous existence.
Was the movie version called?
Yes.
Yes, but it was not its old being at all.
It really, but it was. I mean, it was almost like childlike, but it was self-aware.
But you're saying building something new. Like, what if, like, there's a zombie? I know in some things they like pick up other zombies' limbs and attach them. Does that make it?
No. The zombie that was self-aware was, in a sense, born, particularly in the novel, when it's a lot more articulate. It feels as though it had been created.
Okay.
Instead of resurrected.
It has a separate consciousness from its past life entirely, which I know is weird with our definitions, but it is not one. It wasn't like this creature is definitely like this was who it used to be. No, it was like 5 different people.
I'm sure you said it already, but what was your definition of a zombie? 'Cause there's
We have
2 different definitions.
There's like 20 different types of undead, and I'm wondering like what things.
Mine is it basically has to be quote unquote mindless, where it is either going off its basic instincts or just being whatever. It doesn't really have any higher functioning.
You wouldn't call it a human.
I'm.
Or deadite zombies?
What are deadites?
My definition, yes.
By my definition,
But they
no. They came from.
Oh wait.
Oh wait.
No.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I mixed up zombie things for a second. No, by my definition, I don't think they are.
They're self-aware.
But
they are intelligent enough to articulate, to speak. Wait. Yeah, from the first movie. I've only seen the first movie.
They're all like that.
Yeah, they're all deadites. Yeah, because they can speak. They speak to Bruce Campbell. And they're pretty awful, but they do speak, and they clearly have some kind of self-awareness. But I would still consider them zombies because my definition is, if at some point it was dead or appeared dead, then
wait, I don't remember because it's been like a couple years since I've seen Evil Dead 1. Were they being controlled by a like demon or something?
they were possessed. It's really ambiguous.
Okay, so
It's super ambiguous.
here's where it gets murky in my definition. I have, or since you came late, Joe, I have hosts from like sci-fi in this earlier, where I can count the flood and stuff like that from Halo. But the flood are controlled by a hive mind, so it's iffy with mine.
So
Going
if a vampire makes a scroll that doesn't have its own mind yet and is still under
That's the word I was looking
of the
for.
main vampire, is that a zombie? Until it becomes a full
A
vampire.
thrall. But the thralls never become a full vampire, do they?
If the main vampire releases them.
His definition's also
How do we
different.
get to vampirism?
I'm talking about all types of undead. There's like 20 different types of undead, and based on your definition, zombies.
And Bram Stoker's Dracula, I think it's Bram Stoker's part of like the old like classic vampire myth that if a vampire fights a virgin, then it turns into a pseudo vampire, and so they drink the blood of a human, become a true vampire. But if a true vampire bites someone that isn't a virgin, they become a ghoul, which is basically a zombie.
That's not Bram Stoker's
Not Bram
Dracula.
Stoker, but yeah.
So
That
ghouls
sounds
are
like something
weird.
that someone would write, though.
I don't
Yeah.
count ghouls are different. Ghouls are their own category.
Well, there's thralls also.
Like the zombie-like beings under control of a head vampire.
Depends what ghoul, because
Yeah.
Tokyo Ghoul is not zombies at all.
Also, the ghouls from Rosario
And
Vampire.
he said mindless. What about like a hive mind?
By his
count my
definition,
mind.
yes. By my definition, no.
So the Borg are zombies.
No, that's different.
Their consciousness is added to
So
not dominating.
I'm trying to think of
So
like
are Unity's human
Also
zombies?
By that definition, a flood would also not be zombies.
so by my definition, flood are zombies. By his they are.
It's actually, fuck, the flood is actually super complicated because at some point, flood forms congeal into a grave mine and that form becomes a hive.
Yeah. Flood are weird. Flood are. I count flood because flood are an infection. Flood are like the individual things at first are mindless, and even under the hive mind, they aren't under control of the hive mind and have lost all control of their own bodies.
Well, feral girls from Fallout.
There's a reason I noped out the corner case.
I mean,
zombies.
Theodore calls them playing the zombies and shoot the head.
I think
Feral ghouls, by my definition, would be.
Of being
But they're not ghouls.
Being alive for over 200 years. I think you would just lose your mind.
Well, ghouls are like the same way. They're not feral.
Some ghouls may not have just succumbed to the madness yet. Maybe they found some.
Well, feral ghouls
were
exposed to much more.
As a human, you can become feral if you're isolated from humanity.
Well, feral ghouls are.
That's touched on in World War Z.
Feral ghouls were out there when the bombs hit.
Yes,
In
all
Canada.
ghouls were.
Well, but they weren't out there for as long.
Their brain.
It's never explained.
It's different levels of radiation poisoning, basically.
Okay, so feral ghouls I actually would, in my definition. And I know that's weird. It's definitely weird. That is one of the ones that is weird in my definition.
I
but-
don't follow.
It's just
I hope you know my definition comes from when many years ago when I first started playing Left 4 Dead, I had people telling me Left 4 Dead aren't zombies, they're infected, and but I just had the feeling of I think they're zombies. Also, the creators of Valve do count them as zombies, by the way, I would like to say. And so I said, screw it, I'm looking up the dictionary, and the dictionary is mindless.
Zombies are like pornography. There's no definition, but I'll know it when I see it.
So, my definition is actually straight from the dictionary, and it's,
Did you look that up?
Webster?
I think it was Webster.
Oxford Dictionary?
I can actually find it.
Did you look it up on Britannica?
I did not look it up on Britannica.
But what about rates? I just remember hearing about that.
This was, I hope you know, this was when Left 4 Dead 2 came out in 2009.
Yeah.
So 6 years ago I did this.
I think that was 2. I think it came out in 2008.
Okay, so definitions for zombies. A corpse said to be revived by witchcraft, especially in certain African and Caribbean religions. A person or reanimated corpse that has been turned into a creature capable of movement but not of rational thought, which feeds on human flesh. A person who is or appears lifeless, apathetic, or completely unresponsive to their surroundings. College students. A hypothetical being that responds to stimulus as a person would, but that does not experience consciousness. Or a computer controlled by another person without the owner's knowledge and used for sending spam or other illegal or illicit activity.
That is not in our that is not that's a different thing. That's a
Or
different thing.
a tall mixed drink consisting of several kinds of rum, liquor, and fruit juice. Yeah! So now we know. Real zombies are cocktails. Yes!
Going back to
Philosophical zombies.
What?
Let's talk about philosophical
Get
zombies.
food, Frank.
Philosophical zombies?
It's part of that definition. People who seem to act real but don't experience consciousness like we think we do. Or at least we fool ourselves into believing we do. The idea is that someone who appears outwardly human, not like a zombie, but they don't have the same experience of consciousness
Kind of
and
like
actually respond to stuff like stimuli, like a computer pretending to be human.
Is that chatting?
Because of the nature of consciousness,
Wow.
it is entirely plausible that you're all experiencing consciousness different than I do, and therefore that conversation is kind of doesn't make any sense to me, because there's no real definition of consciousness. You can't, or rather, you can't establish the norm of consciousness because no one actually has a perfect view of how other people see things. Yes.
We're on the topic of zombies. Do you have a zombie apocalypse plan?
So I had a zombie apocalypse
I had
when I was
one
back
for
in high
Long
school.
Island.
Yeah, we both had. We had one on Long Island. You were not on my zombie apocalypse team.
Screw you! I'm leaving.
My zombie apocalypse team consisted of myself, my friend who was a junior Olympic fencer, a buddy of mine that's military, my father who's a medical professional, and I think that was about it. And he was really salty in high school because he wasn't on the zombie apocalypse.
So my plan, which by the way, you're not allowed in my sanctuary that I'm gonna make, by the way. I forgot about that. I'm taking over Costco. Whoever is around near me is welcome
Why
to
not
join.
the Walmart? Because they actually have.
Costco has closing doors that are steel.
Walmart has guns and like.
Walmart does not have guns in Vendor.
I don't have
They
one
have
here.
BB guns, which probably won't pierce.
Which you can use as a bag.
So the one where we're from, the Walmart does not have guns.
There are no types of guns.
In Walmart, period.
And like I said, I
the
got a
biggest
chainsaw
downside,
to clear
it does
tiles.
not have garage doors. So the reason why I'm picked Costco specifically is the Costco near us is gigantic. It's actually like almost its own mall size.
My plan is to take a boat to.
But there's garage doors
Alright,
that close.
I really want to know what Justin has to say.
So, Costco and Walmart both have one thing in abundance during the zombie apocalypse. Stupid people trying to get the same thing you're getting.
I'm taking it over. There's a
abandoned
difference.
island.
With what? You don't have anything.
So the other part of that I didn't mention is I'm going.
Not a Walmart.
Okay, we're gonna bring it back. And I'm actually really glad we're talking about zombie apocalypse preparedness because I want to talk about the learning opportunities that exist because of zombies, which is the Center of Disease Control, which has an entire section of their website dedicated to preparing. Dedicated to preparing for the zombie apocalypse.
I mean, Beaver does
Very
well.
upset because
Now-
like after moving up here, I'm now 6 hours away from my zombie plan.
It's okay because we're far enough north that the zombies are probably gonna freeze. Depending on
That's why I'm going to Canada, because it's even more north.
So,
And the
This is legit. This is actually on CD's site right now.
this is the Center of Disease Control.
And the population in Canada is like 1/10.
The beautiful thing about this website is that basically all of their zombie preparedness tips are just disaster preparedness. My father was a director for emergency management at a hospital for a good number of years, and he also used the lens of how to prepare for a zombie apocalypse, which is have an escape plan, have a ready-to-go emergency kit with crank-powered flashlights, food for 3 days, this much water for this many people, and this is all here in terms
An
of zombie
educator's
apocalypse.
website.
Keep some blades in your home.
The fact that people took this super popular pop culture media and use it as an opportunity to educate people on emergency preparedness makes me really happy, and I feel like that's not something that you can really find in a lot of other genres. Like, get ready for the singularity. What are you gonna?
Oh god, this is way too hard.
Also, gun in my hand, right? Everyone was blade about it.
Zombies watching
This is a poster they use for CDs.
Yeah, I would just shoot myself.
CDC. I just want to see the CDC guide on dealing with the vampire.
So that's actually something really interesting that I want to talk about, why we see apocalypses for zombies and not for other supernatural beings. My theory is that because other supernatural beings are sentient and self-aware, they want to preserve themselves, and they understand that the best way to avoid death is by working stealthily.
If you do want something, an apocalypse that's not zombies, I recommend Jam.
Hey.
It was written from a joke about like, hey, like someone was doing a video game review. I don't know if you know Zero Punctuation. Yeah. He was doing a review on a game about zombies. Like, so many zombies, people were disappointed if the apocalypse comes from like sentient jam or something, and then he wrote a book about it.
It's not. Yeah. Oh my god.
I need to read, guys. I found the next book for book club.
Okay, so.
Can we change it from Neuromancer to Jam?
Okay, if you're going to read a book by Yahtzee, I highly recommend this book, Mogworld.
Mogworld's good, but it's fantasy.
It's about a sentient.
We're talking about sentient jam here, Zach. Come on, stick with the science fiction.
It's about a sentient video game character, so it's arguably also sci-fi. That's
Okay,
it.
fair enough.
Jam is a fun time. It's not as good as my book, but
Is it like the Attack of the Clones?
Is it all about self-preservation?
Is it like
Oh, man. All right.
Attack of the Clones tomatoes?
All right, on you guys. Are there any questions? Anything anyone would like to talk about?
Do you believe that I make it more than 10 feet as a zombie before I use camo?
I'm in the same boat. My ACL.
No, the problem is you just get trampled by the other zombies with longer strides.
You can only think of one example now, but
Guys, hold it down. I want to hear Taylor.
Shaun of the Dead has zombies that are useful at a certain point, to not spoil it. What other ways do you think we could use zombies if we wound up on a planet that doesn't have...
Allow me to talk to you about Bourbon Supreme. Bourbon Supreme is the greatest political candidate of all time, who plans to solve the energy crisis
And the zombie apocalypse.
by generating infinite power by putting zombies on giant hamster wheels, which will turn turbines forever, thus generating infinite energy.
I saw like the image of a house with treadmills around it. The zombies is one of the treadmills to generate power.
Cameron.
Will that fund the free
That will. There doesn't need to be any funding. They're free ponies.
I thought of another example. Michonne uses zombies.
Michonne.
When she's introduced in The Walking Dead.
Yes, zombies as camouflage is used a lot, especially by spoilers in the comics, which I don't think we're getting to in the TV show for a very, very long time. But it's super interesting.
Yes,
those people.
Yeah, we're not talking about that ever.
We can't talk, but the idea of zombies.
That's like 5 seasons from now.
The idea of zombies as camouflage is a really cool idea, but again, it depends entirely on what the authors determine the physiology of the zombies are. That does not work in World War Z, even though there are people who try. There are also people who go insane and just straight act like zombies. They don't make it very far because the real zombies can tell the difference, and the people just shoot them like real zombies. So yeah, can you guys think of any useful
zombies?
What?
The Mythbusters did an entire episode of zombies.
I'm not surprised.
With
RIP in peace, Mythbusters.
With a Walking Dead actor. The one that's on the Yondu in Guardians of the Galaxy. Michael Ward. Yes.
Ooh.
And
Merle.
Okay.
I loved Blue Merle. He was the exact same character. It was Merle, and then he was blue. Like, there's also theories that The Walking Dead takes place in
MCU.
No, in the Breaking Bad universe.
Oh, there is.
When Daryl in season 1, Daryl offers painkillers to, I think it was Dale, and in the bag of drugs,
Blue Sky.
there was Blue Sky. Which is the meth that Walter White makes. He also talks about his brother's dealer being a skinny white boy who said bitch a lot. That are also dealing Blue Sky.
Ryan, those are Breaking Bad references to Zootopia, okay? So
there was.
Don't spoil. I am not saying what scene it was, but there is one.
Now I have to look for
There really anything to
Go watch
Zootopia. I actually don't know.
Yeah,
there actually is.
We've seen them for the first time.
Now I actually want to watch the movie more.
I really want to see Zootopia. Guys, we should just go see Zootopia.
Zootopia sci-fi now.
Just
so we have an excuse.
Sort of is.
All right, are there any other questions, comments, zombie fiction that you'd like us to talk about? Wait.
Anthropomorphic sci-fi or fits?
Anthropomorphic animals are not sci-fi by default. They can be.
Star Fox.
See Star Fox, but like Sonic the Hedgehog is not sci-fi.
There were those cat aliens in Star Trek.
Professor Eggman.
And the cat aliens from Doctor Who. However, you also have, I don't know, furry stuff.
Well, it's like a fictional universe in which it's like similar to Cars, but Cars is science fiction.
If Cars was real science fiction, their eyes would be on their headlights and not on the windshield.
If it
was real science.
You see through a windshield, so.
No, but the car would see through the headlights.
Why?
Because that's how a car sees.
There is an entire thread on the there's a Cars fan group that is consistently trolled by people who say, "Hey, shouldn't the cars have their eyes on the headlights instead of the windshield?" I just
single eye on the rear view camera.
Shouldn't their tires have fingernails on them?
Oh man, how to turn cars into a horror franchise? Mike.
How do I know if I am not philosophical zombie? Like, how do I know if I'm actually perceiving consciousness?
According to the definition provided by Google, you are a human and not a tall drink. Therefore, not a zombie.
But how would you know?
In all seriousness, because you can ask yourself whether or not you are a zombie, you are self-aware enough to the point where you no longer would qualify as a zombie. If you're asking the question, "Am I a zombie?" the answer is no.
What if I teach a computer to ask that question?
Computers are a whole other realm.
Or what if that's more of a
You have the answers.
A zombie computer is a computer that will not live unless it's currently a laptop that won't work unless it's currently plugged in because it's essentially dead.
No, it's a vampire.
What if it's a Chinese food scenario where I'm just saying what I think will make me sound like a human because there's this like internet post I read online, but I'm not actually.
We can't prove nor deny that, so we have no clue.
Imagine how it's touched the sky.
Guess that.
Before I actually respond to the previous point too, respond to your thing on the computer, a laptop that's plugged in is more like a human on life support who hasn't died yet. Unless you're saying those are technically zombies. But really they're more cyborgs if you think about it. Anyway,
you're not wrong. There's cyborgs. There's no.
As far as like you being able to ask yourself that question, how then does in the flesh fit into it? Because they are still undead, but they through medication are able to achieve sentience.
By the dictionary definition, they would not be considered. Although the real dictionary definition had like 3 or 4 different definitions of zombies. I don't think any of them actually apply to in the flesh. But honestly, if the creator wants to refer to them as zombies, they can be zombies.
So just promote.
The thing is, in the flesh, they used to be zombies.
Yeah.
And now they're just
Partially deceased syndrome sufferers.
Yeah, I would have said they used to be zombies, but got better.
Got better.
Like in Warm Bodies, where he got better than Power of Love.
Actually, though,
Warm Bodies
was like it wasn't amazing, but it wasn't bad. It was fun. Cinematography was good. The Romeo Juliet
it was
parallel was really strong.
Yes.
His name was R, and her name was Julie. Pretty strong. Any other thoughts, comments, questions?
I had one, I forgot it. I lost it completely.
Besides Left 4 Dead, which is my favorite use of zombies, putting aside the definition, my second favorite is the movie Dead Alive, directed by Peter Jackson. It is a cult classic horror movie, which is considered to be the goriest movie of all time. And
I've heard about this movie.
I don't believe you.
I've
Ricky out.
Kill Bill Volume 1.
No. It's gorier. I know what he's talking about. I know what movie you're talking about.
It's like a horror comedy, and the zombies are really, they're like kind of like symbolic for some sort of sexuality. I don't know what sexuality they're supposed to be symbolic of, but it's very overt. Like there are 2 zombies that procreate and have a baby, which gets stuck in a blender and then turned on and infected.
Is this the same?
And at the very end, the protagonist's mother turns into a giant zombie and sticks him somewhere he shouldn't be. And the movie's amazing. It's
the same movie where Peter Jackson?
Yes, he directed Lord of the Rings.
Or is this the same movie where Peter Jackson used, I think, 300 gallons of
Yes, that movie. That
Yep.
movie with the lawnmower scene.
Yep, lawnmower scene.
It is a lot of fun. It sounds horrifying, and it kind of is in terms of the squeakiness, but it's meant to be fun.
I've only heard legends about it on YouTube.
They turn into zombies because a Sumerian rat monkey bites people, and they turn into zombies. And from the King Kong Island. So.
Same universe.
So zombies being mindless and kind of let's say when their instincts do them wrong or they just aren't good enough, kind of stupid, makes them vulnerable and therefore kind of cute in a way. They can be like in a look how stupid they are way. Do you think that's part of the reason people like zombies?
Possibly. I just thought of the Max Brooks from Zombie Survival Guide, which is physical consummation with a zombie has never been attempted, but is irrelevant to study as anyone who's willing to partake. It clearly shows no self-preservation.
It's like the line from Fall 4 where you're interviewing the doctor, and Brother Heard's like, have you had sexual relations with something you consider not human?
But, I mean, that's definitely a possibility, which is kind of interesting when you consider, like, this cultural fascination of vampires is that kind of sexual factor. Zombies are this kind of pure innocence. Has anyone watched VHS?
I love that movie.
Have you seen VHS 2?
I love it even more.
Wait. VHS 2 features, VHS and VHS 2 are both basically compilations of short horror films, except for one, which is about a zombie, and the entire story is filmed through his GoPro.
Oh, that was a lame one.
And it was so cute.
Is the zombie trying to get fucked?
No, the zombie is like trying to just kind of exist, except he gets a phone call from his girlfriend, and
so he is trying to get fucked.
No,
it's really sweet, and it like tugged at my heartstrings, and I'm like, this is the living dead. Why do I have a lot of feelings about it?
Isn't there like a video where a zombie falls in love with a shark?
Probably.
I mean,
all I can think of is
There's also internet sharks.
Zombie sharks.
Zombie sharks.
That sounds like a Sharknado sequel.
There are zombie sharks in
Sharknado
DC.
sequel.
DC Comics has zombie sharks.
I know, but I'm saying that sounds like Sharknado 5. This time they're zombies.
Zombie Aquaman summons zombie fish, including zombie sharks and zombie whales.
Is there a zombie
awesome. It's super awesome. Zombie Aquaman is like 100 times cooler than regular Aquaman. Let me tell you.
You like Aquaman?
Really? Of course he likes Aquaman. It's Joe.
Obviously, Joe would hate Aquaman. I mean,
He's not Namor though. Oh no, Namor's cooler, but still.
All right. Any other questions?
I like the Aquaman from the Justice League television series, the one with Hook and.
Hook and Aquaman is generally considered to be the best Aquaman.
Also Fury is pretty cool.
and now we're in comics.
All right, now that we're talking about
Blackest Night.
I mean, I could talk about Blackest Night. It's arguably sci-fi. Oh yeah, Mario really cared. All I can say is it's an excellent series that answers the question: why do characters keep coming back from the dead?
In comics.
In DC Comics.
Yes.
I don't know how well it answers the question, but it answers the question.
All the time.
It's a Black Manta.
I'm not going to spoil it because it's actually pretty sweet. Any other questions, comments, concerns, haikus, zombie-related humor?
In the eventuality of the zombie apocalypse, and like us being in Rochester, where like it's kind of isolated, we're kind of like isolated out here.
I just take a permanent I just do the permanent version of the Golisano challenge.
What is that?
The Golisano challenge is to live for a week in Golisano.
It's to live as long as possible without leaving the structure that's the connected Golisano.
Let's not encourage people to do that. It smells bad enough already.
I mean,
no,
like
the Shower and Innovation Center.
Exactly. So that's what I do. That's the plan.
The problem with that, Brian, is that only doable because the vending machines and Control Art Deli get restocked daily.
There's a garden in the Gosnell building, which.
Oh, are you saying you like stay inside the entire?
Yes.
Connected to. Okay. Never mind. Then it's.
I mean, you can technically get to the library and keep yourself entertained as well.
But like.
Yes, you could actually.
Yeah. No, I thought he was saying specifically the challenge of don't leave the connected Golisano and Innovation Center structure.
I mean, yeah, academic tunnel's done. You just live in the academic. The only problem is like.
Break in.
Yeah. you'd have to board up all of the doors and then just like
Innovation.
once a week you'd have to like do cleanup.
Have you seen the front hall of Golisano? It's all glass.
Yeah, I know.
Same thing at the base center.
Oh, yeah.
I know my roommate's plan is to take over the entire residence side. Just take it over.
Listen,
Where are you getting food? There's a greenhouse in Gosnell.
Okay,
Okay, quick
listen,
question.
I don't like
Where do you,
zombies.
all right, guys, now I want to know, you can, it's the zombie apocalypse, you have to stay in one building at RIT. What is it?
Fucked up shit to the zombies.
Hold on.
Rochester, when I-90, I-390 eventually blocked, and that eventuality is horny.
Hold on one sec.
Everything gets fucked.
Joe.
Then we start fucking zombies and like weird idiots.
Chill.
Joe. To provide technology research and education.
Why?
Because it has everything you need to actually analyze the zombies and know what you're dealing with, because there is no guarantee they're going to function like they do in anything you talk about.
And then it's like it could be ground zero. That's might be where they're being.
Yeah, that's probably where they take
Why are we
it.
creating them?
This is RIT!
Because we still really close to the apocalypse.
Okay, that's that'd be a great idea for our team.
If we can weaponize zombies, we'll be the best school in the United States.
Suck it, you bar.
Take that in my team.
All right, I think with that very, very aggressive statement, we're going to bring this meeting to a close. Thank you all so much for coming. Big thanks to Mike Sarlo for helping me with this awesome presentation. Thank you all for watching. Thanks to Cooper for doing the announcements. If you're interested in Starfest or Relay or T-shirts, talk to Jenny in the back. Jenny, raise your hand. The girl in the vault suit.
She's dressed as follows. I would like to thank Cameron for removing shadows in the projector.
But why? Why are you in a vault suit today?
Because it arrived today and I'm excited.
Bye, guys.
Good enough.
Do what I want.
Cameron,